Yeah, my name's Pete Brown. I'm the Community Participation Coordinator for the Mansfield Townscape Heritage Project.
Can you tell me what is the Mansfield Townscape Heritage Project? Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, of course I can. It's part of a scheme which is national, and the idea is to try and put right the kind of deterioration of the townscape, or the town centre, if you like, and high streets across the country. So it's a national lottery funded project, and this one is specifically for a particular area of Mansfield.
So what role do you play in the Heritage Project? What role?
Well, the project has two sides to it. One is refurbishing the buildings, so that's the capital side of the project, and the grants that the building owners can get to refurbish the outside of their buildings is part of the project. That's where most of the money goes, actually. And then my side of the project is about getting the community participating, getting people involved in the project, and learning about the heritage and the value of that history, and hopefully preserving it for the future generations.
What difference will the project make in the town?
It's a good question. We hope it'll make two differences. One is that the town centre will look better, because the new shop fronts will be there, the history of the architecture of the buildings will be brought out in a better way, and it'll also attract more businesses to the town centre, and hopefully, it may not happen, but we hope that it will encourage people to come back, spend time in the town centre and spend money in the town centre. So that's one of the benefits. And the other one is, you often hear people complaining about the town, Mansfield's not what it used to be, etc., etc., if you look on social media and so on. And what we'd like to see is a change in that perspective, so that people will start thinking, well, our town's not too bad, it's got a good history, it's got a heritage that we can be proud of, and think about a better future.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. So how would you say that COVID-19 has affected this project?
Well, you can imagine my job as Community Participation Coordinator has been particularly difficult, because when everybody was locked down and they weren't allowed out and they weren't allowed to communicate with each other physically, that makes my job really difficult, because my job's all about active participation and activities that people can get involved in and so on. So it was really difficult for quite a long time. And we had to shift what we were doing online rather than face-to-face, which is what we've all been doing over the past year and a half, 2 years. So it did mean that we had to make a lot of changes to the programme that we'd submitted to the lottery, and we had to talk to them about changing what we said we would do, because normally you have to stick to what you say that you'll do. But they've been very understanding. And they've talked to us throughout and helped us to redevelop the programme.
Fantastic. So what are the biggest challenges when facing this project? When you do this project, what would you say are the biggest challenges?
One of the biggest challenges we've got at the moment on the building side, for example, is that the price of materials has gone up hugely over the past 2 years. So we had to put costs together for the buildings at the beginning of the programme, and now everything's gone up. So you can imagine we're now in a situation where we've got a certain budget to spend, and we've got a certain number of buildings that we're going to be refurbishing. And if the building materials have gone up and the cost of labour has gone up over that 2 years, suddenly the bill goes up. So now we have to decide, are we going to do fewer buildings, or are we going to do less work on the same number of buildings? So that's one way that it's changed a lot.
Okay, so how would you say that this project has affected young people and how they spend their time in the town centre? Because I know that a lot of young people spend their time in the town centre communicating with friends. So how would you say this has affected young people?
We worked with students from Brunts High School to develop a mural on the outside of one of the key buildings in Leeming Street, which is part of the project. It used to be called Dicky Dirt's years ago, and it was a place where originally it was the Boots building, one of the first in the country, and then it became a kind of jeans emporium, a cheap clothes shop back in the 80s. called Dicky Dirts. So we decided there were these boards on the outside of the building, and we decided to do something about them because they were just boring black boards. And so we worked with the school, with the art students and a local artist, and we developed a mural that tells the story of the building on the outside of it. And that's one example of how we're trying to catch people's attention and get them thinking about the town. And we particularly wanted to get young people involved because it's going to be their town in the future. So we want them to think about, well, what do you want these buildings to be used for? If you've got an empty shop, what can you do with it? And we want to get the ideas from young people about what they would like to see. Because otherwise, you develop the new high street and then it's not of interest to young people, then it's dead. It's not going to be alive and it's not going to have that throughput of people.
What attracted you to your job?
And this one attracted me, well, partly because I put together the bid to the National Lottery about 4 years ago. And that's one of the things I do as part of my job, is helping people to get money. And this is a 1.4 million pound project. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to put that programme together. I put the activities programme together for the bid. The bid was successful. The programme got the money. And usually that's when I walk away and I'll go and do the next project. And this time they asked me if I'd like to deliver the activities programme. And normally I don't do that. But I thought in this case it'd be really interesting to follow it through to the end and see how the whole thing works. And so I decided to take it on. So I'm with the project until early 2024, so another couple of years. So you've got time to get involved as well. And hopefully by the end of that, you'll see a transformed town centre. You'll see all those new buildings, all those buildings refurbished, and you'll see shops that may have new uses, different uses, and hopefully a lot of people will feel more proud of their town.
So does that thing that you said about, you know how you said that you want to follow this through to the end, does that fall into some sort of personal angle that you have on this heritage project? Do you have some sort of personal angle on why you want to follow this up?
Yeah, I do feel passionate about history and heritage and how we view it, because if you ask people in this town, and in fact towns, I've been involved in projects like this all over the country, and what people don't do is look up. So next time you walk into the town centre, look up and have a look at the upper stories of these buildings, and there's some beautiful architecture there which people don't notice. And they talk, as I said before, they talk a lot about things that are wrong with their town. You know, there's litter everywhere and there's graffiti and there's all kinds of things wrong with the town. But they don't actually look up and look at what's really great about the town, which is that heritage and the wonderful architecture and the design that's gone into all of these buildings. And I think we should be proud of that. And, you know, we should be proud of the heritage and the people who put all of those buildings together, the people who worked in them, the people who lived in them. And, you know, rather than complaining about our town, think about, well, how can we make it better in the future? So, yeah, I feel passionate about that. I'm not from Mansfield. I actually live quite a way away, but that doesn't mean I don't care about the town and its future.
So do you enjoy your job, and what attracted you to the job that you do? I don't know if you've already answered this question.
You think from what I've been saying,
I think you enjoy it, but like, what attracted you to the job?
In a way, I think it's a combination of two things. One is the understanding of the history and the heritage, as I said, but it's also about connecting that with people, because without the people, it's kind of soulless. You know, you've got a building, it's just a building, but it's what that building was used for, and who worked in it, and who built it, and who enjoys it now. You know, so, and that's what I'm trying to get people excited and interested in. Is, you know, well, what does that building mean to me? One of the things we're doing in the project is what we call oral history. So we're interviewing people about their memories of those buildings, and we're building up stories on the website. You can have a look at the website and you'll see we're building a kind of biography for each building. And part of that biography is people's memories. And when you start talking to people, they suddenly come out with all these stories of how they remember the building in the past and when they were young, and when they used to be brought into the town centre by their dad on a Saturday morning or whatever. So those are the wonderful stories that actually make the buildings come to life. So for me, it's that combination of two things. It's the architecture on the one side and the history, but it's also how that connects with people now.
So before I finish up, could you what is the website that you just spoke about? What is actually the website?
It's mansfieldtownscape.org.uk. So if you want to visit that, you'll see where each building has its own biography on the website and all the information about them. And also how to get involved as well. If you want to volunteer, you can volunteer on the project and get involved in the things that we're doing.
Well, so thank you for this interview. Really appreciated some really interesting stuff, and thank you for telling us about the website and all the stuff and how you've been getting involved, and just thank you for this interview. It's been a really nice conversation.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.